Hello everyone, and welcome to the last video lecture of the semester. Excuse me. Alright, so there's only a few days left, and probably don't want a lot to focus on, so this last video lecture is just going to give you 3 proofreading tips that you can take forward into your future classes. So it's not really about covering new content this week, but yeah, I've been saying proofread carefully all semester. So here at the very end, I'm going to give some easy to remember advice about how to proofread carefully in all of the courses you take after this one. Because these skills don't just matter in this course, but proofreading is going to matter throughout your college career and probably into your professional lives. So with that said, proofreading tip number 1, slow down. And again, these are the very basics, but these very basics are actually very useful. If you try to skim through too quickly when you're at the proofreading stage, you're just going to read past all your mistakes. You're not going to see them because you already have in your brain what should be there. So your eye, it skips past your errors. So you actually have to slow down and intentionally read your work slowly in order to see the mistakes. And that's just part of how the human brain works, how pattern recognition works. We sort of fill in the gaps we expect to be there. So slowing down helps you do this. This also means that you probably want to set your phone aside, close Facebook, other sorts of things when you're at the proofreading stage so that you don't have other distractions which are preventing you from really focusing on carefully reading your work. Number 2. Work backwards. One thing that I've often seen is that I'll get a final draft of an essay submitted, and the grammar will be very clean, there will be very few errors in the first 1 or 2 paragraphs, and then the further we get, the worse it gets. And I think what happens is that people start at the top and proofread as they go, and either you run out of time or you run out of energy by the end, or your brain has just sort of gotten more tired by the time you get to the end of the essay, so you're just not catching as many of the mistakes as you were at the beginning. Well, one way to compensate for this is to not always start at the top. Sometimes start at the last paragraph, proofread that one, then go to the one before it, then the one before it, then the one before it. You can even do this within a sentence. Start at the last sentence, then go to the one before that, then the one before that, then the one before that. This also helps with the reading past your errors problem. Again, when you're reading it straight through, you're seeing what you expect to see, and you might miss some of the mistakes you've made. But you're breaking up that flow by working backwards, and so you may notice things that you would read past if you were just going straight through from the beginning. And finally, tip number 3, take a break. Oftentimes, you'll finish an essay at the last minute, you'll give it a quick proofread before you turn it in and send it in. Or you'll take some time, you'll give it a once-over, and that'll be good. But if you actually take some time off after you finish writing it, or after you give it the first proofread, set it aside. When you come back fresh, you'll see things that you didn't see before. Ideally, you'll finish writing it, maybe give it that initial proofread, and then you'll set it aside for a day. You'll come back the next day and look at it again. and give it a final proofread. If you don't have time to do that, at least take a break for an hour. Finish the paper, take a break, walk away from it, get a cup of tea or your preferred beverage. Do something else for a while, then come back with your brain fresh and look at it again. Taking that break and giving yourself time to get away from it, clear your head, and come back will help you see things that you missed the first time you proofread. So if we take those 3 tips together, slow down, work backwards, take a break. Those are all very simple, very basic things. This isn't alchemy or some sort of dazzling technique, but these 3 things can make a huge difference. So if you just do these 3 things when you're proofreading work for the next composition course, for all of your college courses, and even for work you do someday in your professional lives, these 3 basics will do you a lot of good. And that's all for this very short final video lecture. I wish you all the best of luck with your summer and with your classes next fall.